Real estate is always about relationships. So no matter what, there's an opportunity that we're going to be on the other side of a transaction at some point in our career. This is something that I would say, even if you're just getting started, it's to create a form of a system of wowing your client. For me, it's lifetime value of a client. That's a super simple tactical skill I think that all of us should be doing.
Welcome to Signature Buzz, your fast-paced weekly real estate sales meeting.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Signature Buzz. I'm Chris Bishop, your co-host. And today I have a very special guest, someone I've known in the real estate industry, I think for some time. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I have Shelly Panzarella with me today. Hello, Shelly. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here today.
I'm excited to have you here. I think if I remember correctly, we met many, many years ago. And we had done a transaction when I was with another company that won't be named. And I didn't really get to work with you until I came here to Signature, which has been about 5 years. And I will say it's been fantastic working with you as my lender. So I appreciate you and all that you do. But for the audience that doesn't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, so I am the manager here at Prosperity Lending. I've been in the Las Vegas market as a lender for the last 27 years. I actually did this recently when I taught one of the classes, and I was always saying 25, and I forget that you still age and years go. So 27 years in the industry, and today I've co-founded and own the Prosperity Lending brand. And so we've got a team of, there's 18 of us. There's 11 of us that are originating, and it's been a fun journey.
That's awesome. 27 years in
Yes.
in the real estate industry, or just as a lender?
Just as a lender. You know, I thought there was a time when I thought I could do both, and now as I see, and I'm on the other side helping agents and such, there's no way.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to become a lender. I mean, what was the big draw?
Well, I wish I could say it was some great epiphany, but honestly, my uncle was a manager in Southern California, and I'd had a call with him, and he's like, "Shelly, it's the easiest job to make six figures, and it's the hardest job to make 30,000." Which I was in college, a new accounts teller making less than 30,000. So I'm like, okay, that sounds like a great gig. So I really got into the industry for the money, believe it or not. I've stayed in the industry the 27 years. I mean, not to help our families out. And it's been families, my personal family for the team side of it, also families from the real estate side of it, and then most important, our client side of it too. So it's been.
A family can make you do crazy things. I can appreciate that. I got in the real estate industry because of my family, but I'm here for the money. So I completely appreciate that.
Just reverse, huh?
Yeah, someone's got to pay these bills. What do you think? I know what it is, but what do you think sets you apart from other lenders in the marketplace?
If you ask my team, I know they would say that I just do not give up. I really do. For me, it's important that I exhaust all efforts to make a deal or get a family into a home. And that may not be today. For me, it's always path to home ownership. And that could be, I've had clients with me for 6 months, just trying to get their credit together and things like that. And I feel like the other aspect of it is, I call it time under tension or time under pressure. It's the experience aspect, right? I feel over the years of the 27 years, I have helped, I want to say I've been involved in about 15,000 families' lives here in Las Vegas. And I've been able to see and help navigate, whether it's through managing or it's through my own personal transactions, navigating how to get a loan closed, whether it's your first time home buyer. I mean, I'm into this reverse mortgage era now and construction, and we do all these things. And so no matter what it is, that's really my end goal as a lender, is to really not say no. And then when I do say yes, you can take that to the bank and you will close, and we will close.
You know, I got to say, in my 20 years in the real estate industry, one of the things that's always been important to me is that when it comes to my lender, that what you say happens. You know, like I'm okay with good news, I'm okay with bad news, but if you tell me something, like you said, I can take it to the bank. And so I know in every transaction I've done with you, you've always kept your word. And I think that to me is a telling sign of a great lender. Like I just this last week or 2 weeks ago, I called you up and said, "Hey, I've got a client who wants to buy this house. It's a conventional loan and they got to close in 7 business days because they're leaving the country, not illegally leaving the country or anything like that. But they were going on a big vacation for 30 days. And I said, can you do it? And you said, yep. And it closed on time, ahead of schedule. And I think that definitely sets you apart from the others in the marketplace. Let's talk about a little bit of the challenges. Like, you didn't just get to the top right away, or maybe you did. I don't know. What are some of the challenges that you face growing your business along the way?
So majority, actually not even majority, 10 years of my life, I was a manager. So I managed the different mortgage companies. So different challenges at that time, right? A lot of that was really learning how to grow and recruit. And I did actually get closer to the top as like national sales manager. That was totally different. I got so far away from what I really enjoyed, which is our families and helping our clients and realtors, that I stepped away from that. And that's when I came back into doing my own. I call myself, like, I jumped right back into being an originator at the time by myself. So that for me was a big challenge, to kind of put myself in the student's role in learning how to grow business the way that I've taught my other loan officers at the time to grow business. And I mean, I remember sitting there going, "What the heck am I doing?" Like, whoever taught you to do personal handwritten note cards, like, that's ridiculous. So starting out from the very beginning, that was one of the biggest challenges for me, was really the element of just going back to basics. And then as I started to grow, like, I think it's just in business in general. You hit these little plateaus or hills and valleys. And there came a point in my time when, from all the note cards and all the things that we taught ourselves to do, business started to come in. And I had to learn how to let go of some of that, to delegate that to a team, who I assembled around me to help me do the things that, believe it or not, I thought I was great at, I wasn't really good at doing. So
Delegation is a tough one. I've struggled with that for many
scared.
years. Because you just want to get it done, but then you realize you can't grow without people to support you and for long-term help.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your ability to network and market with agents. Like, real estate agents are not the easiest people in the world to deal with. We don't always answer our phone, and you had to go in and like build relationships with business professionals, not just the consumer, but the actual agent in the middle of all of this. How did you do that? What strategies did you use to make those connections?
I mean, I've always come from a place of just serving. So I feel like any time I go into a conversation, and every time I start my classes or whatever, I always say real estate is always about relationships. So no matter what, there's an opportunity that we're going to be on the other side of a transaction at some point in our career. And I hope that we will. And so knowing that, reputation has been a big deal, and also ensuring that if I'm having a conversation with you and there's something that you're in need of, I can work to connect you with somebody, or I can help to answer or solve your problems. That's always been my biggest thing. And so I feel like that's helped to, whether it's in a transaction, it's in a class, whether it's hearing it from another side, that's always been my motivation, is to really seek to help them and to serve them. And I feel like that's helped me to bridge any gaps of, like, oh, you're just a lender or whatever that might be. I don't need you today, I need you tomorrow, whatever. So, and honestly, I think that over the course of like the training, and I love to just teach for anybody who'll listen to me. And I think that's helped me in a different way to give back to them. And then they can receive what it is that I'm teaching.
So, an interesting perspective. You hit it from a different angle in the educational fact, and they see who you are and they get to know you. Yeah, I can understand that. But let's go back to the downside of it. Like, you, as a lender, and I know many have, you get the soft brush off a lot of times from the agents, and agents hate that feeling of rejection when they call their clients and things like that. How did you overcome that feeling of, constant rejection as you go through it to build those relationships?
I mean, I don't think, I know for me, I think loyalty is a big deal. So my number one expectation would be, I'm grateful that they're loyal to their lenders, because that would mean if I ever had an opportunity to work with them, then I would also want to know that they're loyal to me at that point as well. Not everything happens overnight. I mean, I actually had a deal. She was part of my board with the Asian Real Estate Association. She remembered me from then. So that was 2012. We had not done a transaction until then. But the minute we were on the other side of a transaction, she just remembered who I was. And so no matter what it is that you always come at it, I always come at it with kindness. And listen, I'm not the flavor for everybody all the time, and I may not be in need for somebody at that moment, but I know that at least I've provided them with something that they can take in their career down the road. And who knows, maybe 10, 12 years later down the road, they'll need me again.
So I'm going to shift gears just for a second because you brought it up. What I've noticed about you is you're a master at client appreciation, like you, and agent appreciation. Like you take care of your agents really well. When you do a coaching group, you take care of them really well. My client just called and thanked me for the beautiful cutting board that we sent. And I know it wasn't we because I didn't think about it. You did. And you always are thinking about those special points. Like I saw a gift basket on my desk after the holidays, and it was from you. And like you just are so well planned. How did you get to that point? I mean, what can I learn to be that way myself?
It seems like it's such a hard thing to do, but I've taught classes on this as well. I literally will pull out my calendar, and I'll pull out the national holiday list of what's funny and whatever it might be. There every day there's something that's happening in our country that's a national. I think the other day somebody said it was National Hot Dog Day. I'm like,
Yeah, I can
this
believe
is an
it.
opportunity to get hot dogs out to my clients. But I'll literally just take a calendar out and look at that. And obviously your major holidays, you have those pinpointed. But I'll put down things that are near and dear to my heart that I want to be able to celebrate. And that's it. I mean, we have a defined closing process. This is something that I would say, even if you're just getting started, it's to create a form of a system of wowing your clients, whatever that might look like. So we have, I don't want to say we have a closing or gifting process throughout the transaction. That there's certain milestones that we're doing certain things throughout the process. And then afterwards, we also have milestones around that and where we're staying in contact with our clients. Because for me, it's lifetime value of a client. And you being one of my clients, right, on the real estate side of it. And so if you're out there and you're trying to figure out how to get started, the first thing I would do is first plan it, get a calendar. And even if it's like, I'm going to do 2 a year, whatever it might be, I'm going to just do 2 connection points with my clients a year, 1 connection point with my client, whatever it might be, pick it and then and then start to create what that is. You have to also have the list of the people that you want to, who you want to actually connect with. And so whether you do an ABC, VIP, whatever that looks like, start to create that list and start to celebrate on them and love on them.
I love the idea of planning it out. I've seen several people do that where they were actually, here's my year and here's my plan.
Yeah.
How has it impacted your business by making those pieces of gratitude? Like, have you seen actual real connection points between here's what I did and here's the business I got?
Yeah. So, I mean, some of it is just a reminder, right? That I want you to know how much I appreciate you. I mean, that Thanksgiving basket, as an example, was really, those were pieces of things that I enjoyed, my team enjoyed, and we put them together for you just so that you can enjoy that with your family. And that's just one way that I hope that, which to your point, right, you remembered that Thanksgiving basket. So it's working, which is great. But I think that as far as the standard around doing that for us, it's just been something that we've done. We've changed it. We've expanded it. I think Brandon gave us this unreasonable hospitality book, and that has completely changed our world as far as giving back to our clients and such.
Love it. Well, I can't wait for the next holiday. I think it's National Popsicle Day coming up. I'm waiting.
National Wine Day is here. Be on the lookout. Just kidding.
Hey, so with the industry changes and everything, how do you stay current on trends and things that are going on? Because the question, they ask every lender is, what are rates going to do? What's the mortgage industry look like? How do you stay current on all of that?
I'm big into podcasting and conferences. I do, I was like a conference roadie for a while, and I had to tame that back where I wasn't going out every month and learning the new thing. But I do really, I do try to get to at least 2 to 3 conferences. Real estate, actually, they're all real estate driven, right? Tom Ferry's conference, Mike Ferry's conference. I've even been to Inman because I think it's really important. whether you're a lender or realtor, that you know what's happening in your market to educate not only myself. For me, I get to the benefit of helping to educate realtors as well, but also for our clients, right? So I stay in the know based off of I'm constantly learning, reading, podcasting, and then the conferences for me.
Yeah, it's important to have all that at your fingertips because that's the questions that come up.
Yeah.
Let's switch to the coaching and training. So this is an interesting perspective that I think I've noticed from you because you do teach a lot of classes, not only for agents in the marketplace, but for us and our company. What started you to coach and train agents, real estate agents, in their business? What drove that idea?
Specific to real estate or
Yeah.
realtors? Yeah. So I taught that Wheels Up class in for Signature. I think this was 3 years ago. And coming from that, what I realized is everybody at that moment in time got something from it. And it's all excitement and they're ready to go. And then it was the execution and implementation part that's missing. That so when I did a follow up for them in January, because that was like November, did a follow up for them in January, and they're like, "Oh yeah," they weren't as excited to move forward. And so from that, it kind of prompted them to say, "Do you actually mentor or coach?" Like, I absolutely do. So it started from that. It was a group training that I had, and a few of them had just pulled on me to say, "Would you mind, doing a one-on-one with me to help me, with Q1?" And then it went from Q1 to Q2, and I've had a client now for 4 years, and I've helped her to scale her business. So from the real estate side specifically, it started with that class.
That's awesome. And you do these classes on a regular basis to drive, not for personal gain for you. I mean, hopefully they see how much time you've given and they give those deals back to you, but you're doing it for their growth. And I think that's
Yeah.
where it comes from the heart that makes a difference. But you mentioned you also coach outside of the real estate industry. Talk a little bit about that.
I do. I've had the opportunity to coach CEOs, business owners, obviously loan officers as well. I've had people in my same industry, title reps too. So all similar in the real estate side of it, but I've also had business owners as well because I feel like that aspect of it, the scaling, managing, delegating, and also the personal life balance for me has been something that I feel like I've done a really good job at, and I'm able to share with others.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I mean, that is whatever everyone wants balance in their life. What does that mean? I mean, like you found it. I see that you found it. I mean, I can just see that in watching you and your business, and you're able to make these things happen. But what is balance?
I think it's different for everyone. Yeah, I mean, and I honestly can't say I was not the best at balancing work-life balance when my daughter was young. Now that she's 20 and out to college, there's always those statements of like, "Oh, I wish I could reverse time." And so I work to really try to tell people with the littles, the younger children and those that are about to head out, like your daughter, she's going to be heading in, you're going to be empty nesting soon. The work-life balance, I think, for yourself is going to be really what prioritizes your personal and your professional lives. I live in a quadrant of 4 where I've got spiritual, relational, physical, and financial, but not everybody is in that. Some people do the circle of life, whatever that might be. For me, it's really understanding what your priorities are and then truly scheduling those priorities for you, and then being very disciplined about saying no to the other things that may interfere with those priorities. You can always move them around when things get a little bit crazy, but knowing that, hey, if there's personal time for you and there's professional time for you, you calendar those. I mean, it honestly has helped me to create more space and margin in my life because I'm not running around like crazy trying to figure out what's next for me to do. So work-life balance for me, and you're right, it's something that I had to stop being a people pleaser and honestly understand that the person that I needed to be best for was myself first so that I could be better for everyone else after getting myself straight.
Makes a difference for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about perspective, right? So you sit in your role as a lender, watching real estate agents and their business and other parts of the industry. What mistakes do you see agents making that they could fix or correct to have a better business? Like, what are the common mistakes you see?
Ooh, like actual work mistakes or
Yeah.
like
In general, I
actual,
mean, whatever from your perspective, because it's so cool to have an outsider, that's not a real estate agent,
yeah.
looking at it saying, "Why are you doing this? Why don't you do it this way?"
I do see a lot of new agents who struggle with what I think was tainted as commission breath, and they're really all about the transaction, and they don't stop to listen and hear their clients.
Mhm.
I think that has been something even for myself that I've had to learn how to really understand, because at the end of it all, it's not about me. It's always about our clients. And I think that's a lesson that even for myself, I've had to learn the hard way. I think a lot for the agents newer or those who've been seasoned, there's that mindset first. I mean, I feel like there's either we overthink it or they've got a limiting belief on themselves that they can't do certain things. And so and even when I coach, like that's the first thing we try to work through is I can show you how to go door knocking. I can show you how to do a great open house. I can show you how to prospect and all that stuff. But until you can get this straight and connect what it is and why it is that you're doing those things, that's the downside. And then that consistency factor for me, like, okay, we did it for a day. You gotta still do it. It's not gonna happen. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? That type of concept.
So you've been doing a number of challenges with agents here in the
Yeah.
office, different series that you've put on. In your idea, of a perfect world, what skill set do agents really need to grow and learn that will help them be more successful from your perspective?
So, truthfully, the tracking aspect of it, this for me, as I've been watching us go through this listing machine challenge, I literally am the person tracking their numbers.
Somebody
And
should.
yeah, but I think they have to report that to me now, right? So now they're learning to track their numbers. And I think what people don't realize is there's so much information in your tracking. Because if you're not connecting the calls, once you're getting a connection point and you're not able to convert that call into a meeting or a conversation that happens to be something next, there might be something wrong with your scripting and so you need a little bit more role playing. Or if you're not even getting the connection points, is there time of day that you're missing? Maybe there's different numbers that you need to be called, whatever that might be. And I think that starts with just tracking what it is that you're doing. If it's one phone call a day, great. Track that phone call and track the conversion on that phone call. That's a super simple tactical skill. I think that all of us should be doing.
I love that you said that because one of my very first coaches said, people lie all the time, but the numbers never do. And
Yeah.
that's always like stuck in my head because when I coach agents myself and we start talking about things that they did, it's like fantasy just starts coming. Oh, I did this, 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 and this. When, where, and it just, they lie to themselves a lot of times in going through
Yeah.
that. Let's talk about your team. Like you went from at some point by yourself running your own business to growing a massive team of 18 individuals. How did that come about? Like, what does it look like? What advice do you have for those out there thinking of doing something similar?
I for me it started slow. I had no intention again of recreating and building a branch, so to speak. I just wanted to be a solo loan officer. Then when production started to come in, it was evident that I needed help, and I could feel it. My agents could feel it. My clients could feel it. And so what I looked to do was bring somebody in that was great at the things that I didn't like to do. And I think that's the part that a lot of us forget, like they don't know who to bring in. And so, I talk about this system of where I start to list out my calendar and I circle all these different things that I did, but I don't enjoy really doing that. And that created my assistant, so to speak. And then as she started to grow, she actually became a really good loan officer. And I then decided, okay, well, she can actually do this on her own. We're going to grow a little mini team now. And I had to find somebody to kind of assist us at that point. And so that part of it evolved. And then, of course, with production and everything, we had to hire our operation staff. So similar to like a TC for you guys. Actually, TC probably came first for realtors, but we had to hire our processing and underwriting and funding and all that. So we had I call it like the corporate model. My corporate model had to be built before I could bring in other loan officers to actually plug into our corporate model where they can kind of run their franchises, their own individual businesses themselves. But that's kind of how it started. It started with me, individual LO, production started to get busier, and honestly, I've been coached my whole career. And the same thing that my coach told me is like, you're either going to be the assistant or you need to hire the assistant. What do you want to do? And so I hired the assistant. And the scary thing that most people think of, well, I'm going to add more payroll and add more expense. I'm going to lose more money. That actually expanded the income side, the production side of it, because I was able to go and do the things that I really enjoyed doing. And my assistant was able to tackle the things that she really enjoyed doing at the time. And we were just a perfect pair. And then it just scaled from there.
It sounds like a balance. I think that
Balance.
that is the inflection point of what happens is that I was so afraid to hire my first person because of the payroll aspect. Oh my God, where am I going to afford that? But I didn't realize it's about then growing, my business value and making that money for my business to pay
Yeah.
the payroll. And that's such a mind shift change that we're in this scarcity setup all the time. And when you finally make that shift, it's amazing the things that open up. Obviously, major difference in your business, I'm sure. Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about in the lending side, and I think this is something that agents don't really understand. How do you earn income as a lender? There are people on this podcast that have no idea how lenders make money. So tell us a little bit how that works, because I know you do refis, you do loans.
Yeah.
Provide advice to me. I don't know. How does that happen?
Well, similar to realtors today, we get a compensation. I mean, back in the days, you'd heard all the stigma around. Well, if you're getting charged a high interest rate, it's because your lender's getting paid on the back end side. That's true. So all of that got fixed when the Frank Dodd came out, and so we get a percentage of the commission, basically off of the loan amount. You guys get it off of the sales price,
Yeah.
and so depending upon where you work as a lender, you can negotiate between. I think the high side now is like 3%, and in order for you to be competitively priced in the market, most of us are between 1.5% to 2%, I would say, to stay competitive. But that's in essence what it is we get a percentage. We have a compensation that's agreed upon from our team. And so we get a percentage of that based off of a closing, just like real estate. Ours is a lot lower. Like ours for traditional financing is 1.75. And then anything we do that is related to builder comp and things like that is actually, we'll give a 1% and we'll get paid 75 bips, 0.75. So less than 1% on commission.
And I ask the question because in our mindset as real estate agents, we're looking at a product like the house, right? Mm-hmm. And the client, is the value to us in our business, and they're buying an individual product. You have to look at it kind of in a different way. Yeah, the house is important, but you're selling multiple products at the same time because you have all of these different loan programs, all of these different grant programs that are out there. And it's all about, putting someone in the right position to make the acquisition happen, right? And so how do you overcome that? How do you remember all of these programs? I mean, I ask you every now and then, hey, have you heard of this? And you're like, yeah, I've heard of that. Where do you get that information from?
I have realtors like you that keep me on my toes, texting me all the time. Have you heard this? No, for me, I mean, I'd love to say that there's several different loan types and programs and such. They're basic. There's like 4 basic loan programs, right? FHA, VA, conventional, and then your jumbo. You've got this whole non-traditional world that's spinning off to, multiple different things. For me, and I pride my team in this. We really do a great job in when programs come out, we take the time to learn what it is and how it can serve our clients. And it may not serve our clients today, but it might serve them in the future. When we get updates for FHA or VA, we take the time as a team to sit down and talk through what these changes look like, how they'll impact us. And then I'm big into, my team will always say this too, like I create stories and I create scenarios to see if it falls into these different categories. And then they end up being clients. Maybe this is some form of manifestation. They end up being clients that we happen to get an opportunity to work with. But a lot of it comes from being up to date and ahead and proactive in the education things that come out to us. But the reality of it is there's, a handful of programs and different nuances inside of those programs that when you get a client that comes to us, it's for us to go out and really research that program to see how that client can fit into it.
That makes sense. And I love the idea that you market to the clients after that you're updating them, you're sending out your newsletter, because I feel like it's an extension of my team, right? I mean, we're business partners, and I try to get every client to understand how wonderful you are and work with you, and they rave about you after. But there are products and things that you can supply them with after that deal closes, refinances and stuff like that. And so I think, it's important for anyone listening that you have a good working relationship with a lender that you trust for your database's benefit. Because I get people who ask questions all the time, nothing to do with the house, but about, the mortgage market, things like that. And I refer them to you, and you're always there, as a resource. So I think that's really important for it. Let's switch gears for a minute and let's talk about mentorship and roles that you've had. You said you've always been coached. So what's behind that? What do you look for in a coach? What are you getting coached by? And, what do you offer as a coach to the agents who want to work with you?
That's a lot. So honestly, depending on based on my stage of life that I was going through, I had different coaches for those reasons. Like in the very beginning of my career, I had a coach who helped me to really lead. I didn't understand, the aspect of HR and compliance and, super empathetic, but then you also have a business to run. I didn't understand any of that stuff. And so that was like my first stage of coaching for myself. And then, most recently I went through more of like a life coaching aspect. Satema was one of the best. I don't want to call him, he's a performance coach, but he really did help me to build a quadrant around the four areas of my life. And then to be very honest with you, when the market shifted and interest rates went up, I had I had other stuff going on in my life, but I have a life crisis happening, for identity crisis that was happening for me. And that I almost had to circle back to being back to the basics, so to speak. And I had to get a coach who would hold me accountable for doing the activities and doing the things that I said I was going to do, because I didn't know how to get out of my own head some of the things, higher interest rates, the market's going to crash, all of these different, we're never going to do business again. And I just had to focus on the basics. So for me as a coach, I would say, I do it in all levels. I have the Listing Machine community right now has been the only like group setting that I've had in a while. And that is specific for trying to figure out how we're going to grow in the real estate sector for your agents, right? And so what they're focusing on what they can do to get more listings, and we've got a specific action plan that they have to do. And then I'm the one taking their tracking all their numbers. So that's been kind of a cool thing. And then on the one-to-one side, I have agents who are looking at scaling, who need help in delegating, and then I have some who just need to figure out work-life balance for them. And I've work through that. For anybody that comes to me, I will tell you that the one thing for me is we start with that mindset first, and I need to understand what it is that they want, what their 5-year projection looks like, what it looks like for them, from a financial aspect. That why has to be established early on in our coaching, for me at least.
So you made an interesting point that I want to go back to. You have been extremely successful in the mortgage industry. And you said, that balance, the 4 quadrants. It's amazing to think of mindset wise, you can have amazing business success, and one of the other quadrants can pull you down that you abandoned or did pay attention to, or things like that. How do you keep all the plates spinning with that?
I protect them today. Before, I would tell you my business accelerated and my family life was not where it was at today. And I think everybody says, right, real estate is probably the highest divorce rate of all industries. And I could see why, because it's so 24/7. And today I really to do work to protect that aspect of it. When I'm in my business, I'm in my business. My family knows, hey, I'm 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever that might be. But there's also opportunities where I might work on a Saturday and I'll take a Wednesday off, or I'll take you know what I mean? And so I have to have that balance, and I'm very aware of it and intentional about it today, which I honestly wasn't before, because I didn't understand what the impact was. And now that I'm much older and wiser, I do.
I can definitely relate to that because I've had this experience in my life many times. Amy's threatened me, but protecting it is important, and protecting those pieces is important. And I think that's the biggest thing I got out of coaching and mentorship and mentoring is that we're all struggling with the same issues. It's not just the struggle to be successful; it's the struggle to have balance. I guess you can identify it as that.
Yeah.
Let's go a different segment now. You are a powerhouse woman in real estate. And
Wow.
so,
Thank you.
yeah, you are. You're a leader in our industry. You're a leader at your company. You're a leader for your team. And for those that are saying, I want to be like Shelly, what advice do you have for them? What steps do you think would help anyone start that path?
That's just getting started. Like in this role.
First step.
One step. Yeah. Honestly, for me, it is to just to go slow at it. Like this has been a long-term play. If you had told me in the beginning of my career that I'd be in the career for 27 years, I don't know that I would have believed you. Especially with some of the ups and downs in the market then, right? Coming out of the major housing crisis, there was opportunity to like run like crazy from that. And we really leaned into that. I would say pick what it is that you're most passionate about in your business and really lean into that and get very, very good and consistent at that. There's going to be opportunities for you to grow, but you can't grow. Like for me, 100% of me, 25% of the time is better than 25% of the time, or 100% of me at 25% capacity. And so really go in on what it is that you want to do in your business, and start to build off of that. And you'll continue to, once that becomes, you master that, you'll add another thing to that. And then 27 years later, you're being touted as a real estate guru or industry leader, which is something I appreciate you for saying that.
No, I appreciate you for making it happen. What's next for you? I mean, like in your business, like you've attained good success. You have a thriving business. Where are you pushing towards?
So I feel like, and you and Brandon have talked a lot about like building for your book of business. I never really understood that until I've actually heard it from you, honestly, when you were teaching your business planning. And it's for me, I really do want to see that happen for myself, for our team. We have an amazing team. And let me just say that as well. None of this happens for me unless I have the amazing team behind me. And you know that as a test as an agent for me that you can see me running around and my team has everything dialed in for me. And so I give them a lot of the grace and the blessings for allowing me to do the things that I really love to do. But oh my God, I forgot your question.
No, I said, what's next? Like
what's next for me? Yes. So that would honestly, my business partner and I have talked about succession. And I think we have a 5 to 10 year plan based on, how these markets hold us out. But I think for us, that would really be the end goal, is that we could get to a point where we have built up a good organization, book of business, whatever you want to call it, that somebody, either whether it's internally in our group or somebody external, is like, you guys have built such a powerhouse of a lending organization that's done completely different, that we want to be able to plug in and, allow it to go on. So we have a legacy built off of that.
No, that's awesome. I think about those same ideas. My daughter says she has no intention of becoming a realtor. I said the same thing. Look at me now. What happens after? What are you building towards? What's going to happen when you get to the end of that? And I don't think there is an end. I think there's always a next pushing goal that I keep seeing.
I would agree.
There. Yeah,
I would agree with you. I mean, I don't know that I'll forever be out of the industry. Though I'll always I love the consulting aspect of it. I love the still teaching and training with our clients and such. I do feel like there'll come a point in time where my hope is that I'm not in it every single day like I am today. But who knows?
Yeah, I got some time for golf in there somewhere. Let's talk about, in general terms, lenders and agents and how they can best work together. So what advice do you have? Like, I know that working with you, I'm kind of a pain in the butt. And when I call, you answer, and I love that. But I had to let go of some of that. I got to control everything when you have great people you work with, because you do have a great team. Pretty much everyone on your group is fun to work with and has helped and supported me. But what advice do you have for agents like me that need to let go and understand that business professionals are supporting each other and this is how it works?
Some of my best partnerships are when, like, to your point, and I know it takes time, it's trust, right?
Yeah.
But I tout, even for my new agents that I'm wanting to work with or wanting to work together, it's really about building a team. Whether you're an individual agent, you need a good lender, you need a good home warranty person, you need a good home inspector, you need a good TC, you definitely need a good TC. And if you haven't heard, there's a really good TC by the name of Amy Bishop, A to Z Transactions. I always tout her all the time, but you need this team behind you because I know you think you're just an individual agent, but to get to the finish line, you need all parties, escrow, title, everybody that not just works with you, but you understand and they understand how you work. Believe it or not, each realtor has a different business model and philosophy and way of communication. And so for me, that's the primary goal. And my best partnerships have been around conversations in where I know exactly how they want me to communicate. I know exactly what they need from me. There's also that level of time and trust that has to get built where, I mean, to your point, Chris, I know in the very beginning when we started work together, you had to make sure I knew what was going on, what was going on. And now right? Unless I'm calling you, that there's really nothing that you have to worry about. And for me, that brings me gratitude to know that I can give you comfort to know that this loan is going to go through. You don't have to worry about it. Maybe you pull up the escrow, or maybe something crazy is going on, and we need to be alert of that. And those are those touch points where you and I are in communication. But for the most part, I want to make sure that you can go in and take care of your clients the way that you need to do it and not worry about the lending aspect of it. So if you're just getting started or you don't have a lending partner, get to interviewing partners. I'd love to help and be part of that process for you guys, whether it's me or part of our team. But you need to assemble a team, and that team needs to be TC, title, warranty, inspector, lender, escrow behind you, because you're not, I'd love to say you're a one-man show, but you're really not. And you need all of us to help pull you and push you.
Yeah, that trust factor is so important. And I now that you said it, I think about it, I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's how it works. And that's a big thing to grow and create. What drives you crazy about real estate agents? Let's get to the nitty gritty. I mean, like, if you had one thing, like, what do we do that just,
I can't hear you, Chris. This Zoom thing is really. I honestly don't know that I have.
Come on.
I know I'm thinking about it. I would say for me, because I have the balance of still being a people pleaser, and yet I still get agents who will text me 10 o'clock at night, Sundays at, or first thing in the 6 o'clock in the morning on whatever the case might be. And,
did you fund yet?
Yeah. But you know what? I think to that is I haven't done a well enough job in letting them know what our process looks like in funding. And so that's for me, an expectation agreement situation that I need to have. But on the real estate side, I honestly, I don't really, that's really it. I feel bad because usually I want to respond and return my calls all the time and, immediately. And like, if I'm on a Zoom call doing a podcast, I don't know that it's really appropriate for me to pick up the phone and say, hey, hold on, I'm on I'll call you back. Right. Yeah. And so, but that's not anything that really upsets me. I think it's just having a good understanding. I don't know. I haven't been really upset by it. I'll tell you one. I will tell you one. Okay. This is opening up the secret of Shelly right now. So I had a recent transaction.
Wait, it wasn't mine, right?
It was not yours. No, okay. No, but I think I've saved her as an agent for me. Honestly, it's a listing agent who came to me and said, hey, this deal's falling through. I know you always say you're the quicker picker upper. Can you please help me in picking this one up? And the deal was very, very sticky on the buyer side. I didn't really know the buyer's agent. And she was that one agent that was like, why are you asking for multiple conditions? Why is this every time and the buyer, manual underwriting, FHA loan, declined by another lender, all of the things, uphill battle that we had to go through that I set as an expectation up front. And at the very end, we had to ask for some additional things because this client moved money around like crazy, spent money like crazy. And That would be the one part that I would say for me is to give us a little bit of grace, in knowing that, again, if we're going to say we're going to get something done for you, we will, and understand that sometimes our buyer's conditions can create additional conditions which require us to ask for just a few more documents more, and to give us a little bit of grace on that.
Sometimes miracles take time, right?
Yes. Amen on that.
So let's get into a couple of the paths to working with you. If I'm an agent who wants to work with you as my lending partner, what steps do you suggest? I mean, like, if you meet an agent, do you do a phone consultation with them and find out how wacky we are? What are the kind of steps that you would recommend someone go through to work with your team?
Yeah, I mean, you can always reach out to me on my cell phone. My 702-499-3279. I'm on Instagram. The team Shelly at Prosperity Lending email goes to all of us on the team. So totally open to having a conversation. Some of it could be over coffee, some of it could be phone call, Zoom, whatever is most convenient, just to chat about how we could partner together. And to your point, I do have other loan officers as well. So, maybe if I'm not the fit, I'd hope that you'd be able to plug into our system, because we do have the best lending team in town.
And you're not just here in Las Vegas. You, I want to say worldwide, but you do have other states.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
I think we're in 40 states now. So California, we do a lot throughout the West Coast side, but I know I bridged to Florida. We've got some deals in Texas. I've done Alaska as well. So across the country, not all states, but if there is a state that you need help with, let me know, and we can get our.
Are you in Utah?
We are. Oh yeah, for sure.
Utah. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the real estate market. What is your perspective? I mean, with everything going on in the stock market right now, people freaking out, what would you say is your crystal ball about the Las Vegas real estate market and maybe the world real estate market, or the U.S. real estate market?
Real estate market. I think for Las Vegas, the thing that I've been trying to figure out for myself, and I'm sure everybody else, is the affordability factor. And I think for all of us, I think we're having to kind of understand that maybe just like it was in LA, maybe that affordability factor is going to be a condo or a townhome. And I think it's really helping a client understand that based off of what they can afford today, or I'm also seeing a lot of like next gen or family living together to actually afford a home. So I think that part of it is we have to be flexible in really communicating that to our clients. I mean, I have clients that are buying they want a $1,500 mortgage, and they want a 5-bedroom home. And there's expectations today in our market that are different, right? We just have to be prepared for that. I'm really excited about the Vegas market just because we've got a lot of great industries. I mean, 20 years ago, the struggle for us was, or maybe 15 years ago, the struggle for us was, how do we get to qualify our tip industry earners, right? And now I feel like we have higher income earners, professionals in here today. And that market of the higher end is definitely something, even for myself, that I'm diving into more, because we have more businesses that are coming in, relocating here into Las Vegas. So I'm really excited about that aspect of it for us too.
So, we, in the real estate side of it, if I said to an agent, what's the struggle currently? They're going to say, well, there's a lot of inventory. Properties are sitting a little bit longer. We're still seeing things overpriced, and making that all come together. What is it that you're seeing as a lender? Like, what's the struggle bus part for the lender right now?
Today, April 7th. So I'm seeing there's a certain price point, and I had this conversation with our listing machine community. There's a tipping point now where you're in multiple offers, right? And that's 400 down, 400 and under, you're in multiple offer. I have a client that wrote 6 contracts, and they're in a 350 to 375 range. And so I'm like, for me, that's crazy, right? And rates are not, they've come down a little bit, but they're still in the 7% range. It's not because interest rates dropped into the 5% range and all of a sudden we have multiple offer situation. And then on the flip side, I am seeing some of the higher end products, like in the 1.5 to 2 million. I'm seeing more opportunities for that. So it's very it's very unique for me that today I feel like there's two segments, and this middle segment right now is still just waiting. And I think that the minute that the interest rates drop, that's when it's going to unlock the sellers who've had their 3% interest rate but don't really love their home. They love their rate and they want to get out of that home now, and they're gonna unlock from that and feel comfortable to move forward in buying. And I think that's going to shift as far as the inventory is concerned, and that middle market will start to come out.
One of the big things we've known for a long time in the marketplace is that there's a ton of equity in properties because of that fact that they're sitting there. And because you do refinances, are you seeing an uptick in those? Like, there's got to be this certain threshold where people say, I got to have that money. I got the stuff I want to do with it. Are you seeing those trend up? Are they the same? Where are they at?
Yeah, for different reasons though, because we're also, although we've got a lot of equity, we also consumers have a lot of debt.
Yeah.
And so we are helping a lot of our clients today who are struggling with like credit card debt, student loan debt, the car payments as well. And we're assisting them with equity lines of credit or even cash out refinances. Even though they're walking away from a lower interest rate, the blend of what they're paying today, saving them thousands of dollars based off their total monthly payment. And that's giving them some form of relief. So we are seeing a lot of that. And then I also have clients that are, taking advantage of the equity position they have. And they're some of them are actually, I had somebody call me the other day and said, I'm buying. I'm like, awesome. What are you buying? Like, no, I'm buying stock. Can you get me some money out of my equity? And I'm like, really? You're going to buy? He's like, we're on a dip. It's time to buy. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I could absolutely understand why somebody would want to do that and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
What about foreclosures? What about default rates? Are you seeing, like, I've heard rumors of there's this large default thing happening. There's 6 million owners that are behind on their mortgages throughout the nation. What are you seeing from your perspective?
I haven't seen news on that. I mean, not news. I just haven't seen that as an impact. Like in our own portfolio that we carry, I have not had any issues with early payment defaults or things like that. So it hasn't come. I haven't seen it today.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Shelly, first off, thank you so much for your time today and going through this. I didn't mean to grill you with 20 questions, but I did grill you with 20 questions. What are some of your final thoughts for those listening? What advice do you have for the agents in the marketplace and the lenders that are watching this?
So I would just say, I heard something the other day that talks about creating your own economy, and no matter whether rates are up or down. And I too had this same issue where if we just do the work that we are set out to do, there's always going to be a need to buy or sell or refinance or do a home equity line of credit for our clients. And if we really do take the time to stop and listen to see what our clients need, we're going to find a way to help them in some way, which will open doors, maybe not in getting a transaction with that one client, but I promise you that'll open the doors for other opportunities with referral business from that specific client. And the other thing I would just say is to lean into focusing in on 1 to 2 things that you're amazing at, staying consistent at that, and start to track those numbers for yourself so that you can see over time. I mean, Q1 is over for us today. Like, that's the crazy part about it. Had you started January 1st and tracking, you'd know what you need to do for the next quarter and whatever to get you through the end of the year. And so taking that, staying consistent, tracking your numbers, and then if you need help, ask for help.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Well, for all of those listening out there, I can definitely tell you, call Shelly. She's an amazing lender. She's a lender you can trust. And I'm so glad that you've supported me in my business, and I appreciate you. And to Brandon, who's not here, he would always say, thank you for tuning in. We're always reaffirming your success. Make it a great week.
Love it. Love it. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you.